Here they are, James. Everything is finalized. I suggest you sign them quickly if you know what's good for you.
I knew something was wrong the moment my wife, Lena, walked into the living room. There was this strange, almost rehearsed confidence in her eyes. She held a folder behind her back, hiding a secret she was just itching to reveal. Her smile was bright, but it didn't match the tension that suddenly filled the air. She sat across from me on the sofa, her posture a little too perfect, and said, "We need to talk." My stomach dropped. I asked her if something had happened, my mind racing through 100 bad scenarios. "I've been thinking about our marriage for a long time," she said, her voice steady. "I've realized we're just better off as friends." I just stared at her, completely blindsided. The words didn't make sense. Friends? We were husband and wife? That's when she pulled out the folder. Divorce papers. She placed them on the coffee table between us, and then she smirked. It was a tiny, almost imperceptible smirk, as if she expected me to applaud her for this act of courage. I felt a knot form in my throat, but I kept my voice even. "When did you decide this?" I asked. She waved a hand dismissively. "Oh, it's been building for months," she replied. "I just don't feel the same connection anymore." Her words were vague, hollow, like lines from a bad movie she'd memorized. The next question was the hardest one to ask, but I had to know. "Is there someone else?" Her eyes flickered away from mine. "That's not relevant," she said, her tone suddenly defensive. Her refusal to just say no was all the answer I needed. My chest felt tight, like a band was squeezing my lungs, but I forced myself to stay calm. She started talking about a peaceful separation, how we could still be close friends, how she didn't want any drama. Her voice was like a distant hum. All I could see was this stranger sitting in my wife's place. The woman who once cried if we had a small argument now looked completely detached, like she was discussing a business deal. "I want honesty, Lena," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. She wouldn't look at me. She just fiddled with the silver necklace I'd given her for our anniversary. I asked her again, "Are you seeing someone?" This time she whispered her answer. She'd reconnected with an old friend. "It started as innocent conversations," she claimed. "Feelings just developed unexpectedly, the classic story." "Have you been unfaithful?" I pressed. Her silence was deafening. It was a confession without words. Then came the apology, a soft, insincere, "I'm sorry," immediately followed by her plea that we could part ways without a fuss. "I hope you won't make things difficult," she added. That's when a strange calm washed over me. You know, pain can be incredibly steadying when it's sharpened by betrayal. I looked at her and said, "I understand." Her expression softened instantly, relief flooding her face as if she truly believed I'd just accept it all. "I'd really appreciate your cooperation," she said. "I hope we can both move on peacefully." I told her I would think about it. She smiled, a genuine, triumphant smile this time, as if she'd just won a quiet, effortless battle. That night, sleep was impossible. I just lay there, replaying her smirk, her cold, rehearsed words. I felt disappointed, of course, but underneath it all, there was a strange sense of relief. It was like I finally had permission to let go of a marriage that she had emotionally abandoned long before she ever placed those papers on the table. The next morning she was up early, buzzing with a cheerful energy that felt like a slap in the face. "Just running a few errands?" she chirped as she headed for the door. Just before she walked out, her phone, which she'd left on the kitchen counter, lit up with a new message. I couldn't help but see it. It was from a man named Trevor. "Can't wait to see you again. Last night was perfect. Bring the papers soon." My heart dropped for a second, then it steadied into a cold, hard rhythm, the truth in black and white. I didn't confront her. What was the point? Instead, I took a moment, packed a bag with a few essentials, and sat down at the kitchen table. I took a deep breath and prepared my response. When she returned home an hour later, she was practically glowing. "So," she began, "have you thought about the papers?" I looked up at her and nodded. "I have," I said calmly. "I agree to the divorce." The relief that washed over her was so obvious it was almost comical. "Oh, I'm so glad you understand," she gushed. "We can get this all handled so quickly." She reached for the documents on the table, but I put my hand over them, stopping her. "Before you do that," I said, "I wrote you a letter. I think you should read it." Her cheerful expression wavered as she took the envelope from my hand. She opened it slowly, her eyes scanning the page. I watched as the color drained from her face. Inside wasn't a sentimental farewell. It was a full, detailed statement outlining everything I knew about her affair with Trevor. There were screenshots of the messages I'd found, dates, times, and details she thought I was completely oblivious to. Her smirk was gone, replaced by a look of pure shock. Why didn't you say anything?" she stammered. I leaned back in my chair. "I wanted to give you the chance to show me your true intentions first," I told her. Trust doesn't just collapse loudly. It breaks silently, piece by piece, long before the final crash. And then the tears started. The apologies came pouring out, a frantic, jumbled mess of how she never meant for it to go this far, how she panicked, how she didn't know how to fix it. I just shook my head. "It's too late for fixing, Lena." She reached for my hand, but I pulled it away. "I've already signed the divorce papers," I said, my voice flat. "You're free to be with Trevor openly now." Her tears flowed, heavier as she started calling her relationship with him a mistake. "It wasn't a mistake, Lena," I said softly. "It was a choice. And choices have consequences." She pleaded for another chance, for us to try again. I stood up. "Our marriage ended the day you emotionally replaced me, not the day you brought home those papers." She covered her face and sobbed, her body shaking. I walked past her, placed my keys on the counter, and said, "I'll be staying somewhere else until this is all finalized." She begged me not to leave like that, but I just said goodbye and walked out the door without looking back. The next few weeks were a blur. The divorce moved quickly. Lena sent a flood of messages, talking about the past, begging me to reconsider. I didn't respond. I was too busy focusing on rebuilding myself, on finding my own footing again. And I discovered something amazing. Freedom feels so much lighter than betrayal. The day the divorce was final, I didn't feel sadness, I felt clarity. Lena moved out of the house quietly a short time later. The silence she left behind wasn't empty. It was peaceful. And I learned that sometimes someone leaving isn't a loss. Sometimes it's the start of a brand new, much better beginning. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.